Welcome to
Hey,
Matrix Talk.
good
I'm,
afternoon.
I'm putting into the chat greetings from Maine. There we go. So,
And I'm already putting greetings from Langhorne, PA.
well, somebody has joined us. A lot of people signed up.
Yeah. So chat in if you're
I
here.
don't know, Graham. I don't know.
Let us know where you're from.
Chat in, see if anybody else shows up. I should imagine people will show up, all these people who have signed up.
We have a lot of people sign up today.
What?
There's Graham, hey, all right, from New Jersey. Oh, way across
New Jersey, right? I mean, you know them.
almost, like Washington did. He threw the silver dollar across the Potomac. But
Potomac, that's right.
we'd be throwing stuff across the Delaware here.
Oh, okay. Oh well. So and today, more. So if
Yeah,
and Graham already checked in, and I'm sure other people will show up. You can check in the upper right somewhere. You can follow us, which is a cool thing to do.
somewhere up there.
And in the below us, click here for ACT training and APA CE.
Hey, Jasmine.
Hi, Jasmine. So you can purchase CEs from us, which is cool. And you can learn how to do ACT with the ACT matrix that way. Oh, here's some more people showing up.
Okay.
And any other housekeeping, Phil?
No, I think that covers it. We got the basics.
Got the basics down? Good.
Yep.
Good. That's a good thing. And I may have mentioned it. We call this one "How to Do ACT with the ACT Matrix," which is sort of handy.
Yeah. It's kind of what we do.
Oh, Williams on our songwriter.
Oh, yes.
Just some oldies but goodies.
Cool.
Some of these folks know how to.
How you doing, William?
Howdy. So yeah, so we're. Well, I guess we can get started.
Yeah. We usually cook along like this, let people come in like they're doing, and then if you come in late, put your name up there. Let us know where you're from.
Yeah. In the meantime, we'll go about this thing, how to do ACT with the ACT matrix. So I'll preamble it a little bit. I'm pretty sure that it's still the case that if somebody says, oh, here's this ACT thing, acceptance and commitment therapy and training, and I would like to do it, and they get a book on it, and they go, wow, that's quite a little bit of stuff. And they may not exactly know how to go about doing it. Is that safe to say, Phil?
I would venture to guess that happens to quite a few people.
And and then
how to get stuff. How do I get started? What do I got to do here?
I mean, almost anything in life, that's the thing that really hitches you up. First time you go to do something, it's like, I don't know what to do first.
Yeah, right.
I don't know how to get started. And so, in large part, the ACT matrix was created just for that purpose, get you started, going. And so we will do that, and we'll show you how that gets you started. That's how you do it. So if you've come to it, you may have heard of, ACT talks about values, and ACT talks about accepting stuff that's going on inside of you and not struggling with it or something. You've heard something like that.
Yep.
And you've heard probably commitment, values. What's that?
Showing up to the present moment.
Oh, showing up to the present moment. Oh, yeah. So it's a mindfulness thing.
Yeah.
And so most people will go, okay, well, maybe I start with mindfulness. Maybe I start with values. Maybe I start with this other. And then it's like, I'm not sure.
Yeah. And then you get really confused.
And then there's not a lot of protocols and this and that. And for that purpose, really, several years ago, 2009 now, I came up with the ACT matrix as a simple way to get started. And so that's literally how we do it. We'll tell people, I work from this point of view, call it the ACT point of view if you want to. And if you're okay with it, I'll show you the point of view. I'll show you what it looks like. And you're saying this to clients, therapy clients, or a room full of executives or whatever. It doesn't matter. And then notice I started by saying acceptance and commitment therapy and training, because it was originally training. It really wasn't originally therapy. It was trainings. As a matter of fact, a stress management thing that, what was that guy's name?
On, wasn't it, Kevin?
Yeah, right. Frank.
Yeah.
And Bond, and he was in England at that time. Something with it. So anyway, you can present it to anybody, and you just say, "Hey, here you go. Would you allow me to show it to you?" And so probably William will say, "Sure, you can show that to me." Or maybe Jasmine will say, "Sure, you can show that to me." Or maybe Graham Behavioral Services
Yeah.
will say, "Okay." Nobody said okay so far, so we'll see. Maybe they don't want to see it. But if they don't want to see it, we're going to have a very short.
It's going to be, shuttered quickly.
They're still not answering.
Oh,
No.
wow.
Maybe they all want to get a cup of tea or something.
Could be they've stepped away.
Stepped away. I don't know. Anybody else? Anybody who can chat?
Anybody on there?
Do you want to see this point of view? Usually somebody, yes, there
Thank
we go.
you. There we go.
Maybe a delay in the chat too.
All right. Yeah, it could be. Could be.
Happens at times.
Yep.
Right. And so here's what this ACT point of view looks like. Yeah, it's got a vertical line and a horizontal line, and 4 quadrants. And we started in the lower right quadrant. And who we got now? Who's important to you? So that's a great place to start. So you can say, we can start with who's important to you. And like, for instance, my wife. My wife is important to me. So, okay. Got anybody who's important to you? And if you want, in the chat, you can type in someone who's important. Oh, wait, as in kids. My kids are important.
Kids.
So we got wife, we got kids, we got son, and the list goes on. You just have, if you're with
Pile them in there.
if you have with one person, they throw it in. If you're with a group of people, they throw in a bunch more, and you got it. You go, great. So who's important to you goes in the lower right.
Myself. Me.
Yourself, and you can put yourself in there as well. In the lower left of this diagram, we put stuff we call yucky. It happens inside of you, and it doesn't feel good. Very popular example is fear. Fear shows up inside of you, and it doesn't feel good. It just doesn't. Can you think of other things? I'm sure Phil can think of other things, thoughts, feelings that show up inside.
How about frustration?
Frustration.
There's irritation. All right.
Irritation, that shows up, and it doesn't feel good. Sometimes people ask, well, can you put pain down? Well, of course you can put pain down. It's inside your skin. There's emotional pain, there's physical pain, and it's not fun. As I said, we call it yucky stuff. And so what happens, of course, with us humans, once that yucky stuff shows up inside of us, we want relief. And so we do things, and now when we go to the upper part of the matrix, it's all behavior. So we're going to do something, some observable act, and it's done in the service of getting relief. So like from fear, well, you might see me running, and You could tell I was running in fear. You know, you've seen it. It happens. For frustration,
Oh, complain.
complain. That is a great one. Has anybody here ever heard anybody else complain? Rhetorical question. I'm sure you might have heard people complain. Irritation.
Bill says all.
All the time, right? Irritation. What might people do? They're irritated.
"Grr."
Now they growl. Brr. See, that's observable. You can hear it and see it. Brr. Right. Irritated. And for physical pain, particularly, you do the act of taking some painkiller, you know, Tylenol, aspirin, whatever. And others walk away. Walk away is one of the most favorite of all.
That can take care of a lot of these.
It takes care of a lot of stuff, of the yucky stuffs. Right. And you go, okay, so now you know that these relief behaviors that we all do go in the upper left. And finally, we're going to talk about behaviors in the upper right that you do in the service of your relationship with who's important to you. It's what it is. And oftentimes that leads to satisfaction, feeling of satisfaction. So, you know, for my wife, I just might go talk to her. What a concept. Go talk.
I'm gonna play disc golf with my son.
Bill might play disc golf with his son. And somebody put down kids. So what might you do with your kids other than play disc golf? That's one thing.
They're a
Well,
kid.
I can certainly think of some.
Do the dishes, take care of the yard, FaceTime my son in Japan.
Oh, wow,
you're in
man.
Japan too. All right, Bill.
There's
Great.
a lot of stuff. I was just going to say play, but you know. And of course, with all these people, you can call them, FaceTime them, you know, do stuff like that. All behaviors in the service of your relationship with them. Somebody put me, you know, myself. Well, you might exercise. I don't know. Something to do.
Popular.
Exercise is interesting because people do it in the service of, you know, me or even being with other people, but it can also be a relief move. A lot of people exercise to get relief. And you can run with my wife there and say that could be what Phil and I call a twofer. So running, maybe you're getting some stress relief and you're getting, you know, time with your wife.
Yeah, companionship.
So, and that's it. And so, and then now that you see that, you know, who's important in the lower right, yucky stuff's in the lower left, and relief behaviors are in the upper left there, and the satisfaction behaviors are in the upper right. Well, now that you know that this picture, now you can notice all of it, right? And at any time, you might pause and notice all of this stuff. And that's all you need to do is just notice it. There's no other. It's like noticing a sunset or something.
Yeah.
You're just noticing it.
Take it in.
It's just there, and you notice it, and that's the ACT point of view that I work with people. Are you agreeable to us doing some work using this point of view? What do you think?
Bill's on. He's on board.
Now what?
And there's Aaron.
Aaron A. And of course, anybody who has a lightest listening ear out of the therapy world knows I just did informed consent, or at least a good chunk of informed consent. I said, this is how I work. This is what it's going to look like. And are you willing to engage in this? Take a look at things from this. And I'm at 100%, folks. Everybody said yes. And I've
Yep,
done
I'm
this
right there with you.
literally thousands of times, and they've all said yes. Uh, Now, there's a lot of reasons why they say yes, including, they're sort of, well, I want to get this work done or whatever, and I want to say yes. But even in a setting where you're like presenting to a team in a business or something, they'll say yes because, and Phil and I have heard this many times, because it's interesting.
Yeah.
It's, it's once you're staring at that, looking at that, and they're going, oh,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
that's interesting.
And then,
Yeah. And people even lean in. You'll see them slightly lean in and
yeah,
go, oh, yeah.
they get curious.
Yeah. Okay, and then the curiosity shows up. Okay. And so that's going on. And now here's the big reveal, folks. You've actually touched on the entire ACT process.
Yep.
And so now this is a great way to get started because you've already hit on everything, except you just didn't use the traditional language of ACT. You got at the process, you just didn't use the traditional language. And of course, many people get hung up on the language. It's like, well, and so here I'll give you an example. The lower right, we're talking about who's important to you. Well, you don't have to think very long to know that that has to do with the V word,
Yeah.
values, right? Because almost all values involve who's important to you, including yourself, right? And so we're talking about the process of values without using the word values. So now some people will be sticklers and say, well, if you're not using values, then it's not ACT. I disagree.
Oh,
And I just, in particular, because Phil and I specifically do not use the word values for a reason. And it's because turns out it's a relatively sticky word, meaning that some people will take offense to it.
yeah.
And or they get, oh, you're talking religious values, you're talking politics, you're talking this, and including some people saying basically think you're dissing on them,
Yeah. Being disrespectful.
disrespectful to them, right? And you say, well, and if you're sitting there thinking, oh, gee, I can't imagine that happening. Yes, it does.
Oh, all the time.
Yeah, and if you did this for a week with people, I guarantee you would hit that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're gonna bristle.
Right. And so Phil and I,
Yeah. Bill says values come along for the ride without saying it.
yeah, and so you don't have to say it. And therefore, any of that adjective that would show up with that word is off the table.
Sidestepped it.
Right.
It's not there.
And it just doesn't take very many times of it happening that you don't want to do it anymore. So we just did away with it, and it works fine. And so now we've established the process, the values process, and the outcome of ACT. This is from Steve Hayes himself, the guy that invented ACT. The outcome of ACT is a process. Well, that's the process. See, Phil went, that's the process. So you've actually introduced the process without using the heavy ACT terms. And so that now you're doing how to do ACT with the ACT matrix. Well, now you are. That's it. So if you learn how to do that, which requires no more price of admission than this webinar, which for Crowdcast, sorry, which is free. So, that's it. You can do ACT, okay? And I've done this enough to know you don't need to do any more ACT. Right?
Nope.
Not necessary. Do you hear?
All here.
I hear something.
That would be a truck going by.
Oh,
It's gone.
Good. No hallucinations here.
No,
Good.
no, you're in your line. Do not adjust your dial.
You're saying, well, what about diffusion? What about diffusion? We
What
need
about-
diffusion.
Oh,
We can't be doing saying we're doing ACT and not do diffusion, right? Well, I guarantee you, if you want to turn somebody off, bring up that word, diffusion.
yeah.
Uh,
As in, let's do some diffusion stuff. Then.
yeah, like and the thing is you just don't need to, and you already started because you got somebody to begin talking about their yucky stuff, okay, in a lighthearted, easy to get into way, okay, and so I'm not saying that's the end point, but
No.
it's to start. You've
Yep.
now opened it up so that people can now talk about their yucky stuff. And talking about your yucky stuff in the right context is diffusing. And for the most part, this is a workable context for talking about such stuff. And it's because it's matter of fact. You're not making a big deal out of it. It's just part of life, right? Now, as much as we all have yucky stuff, that's not really what gets us in trouble in life.
No.
That's, and for that matter, our feelings for the importance of other people, that doesn't
Seem to hitch us up either.
hitch us up, right? None of that really does much. It's the behaviors in the top line and the up above. That's what gets folks in trouble. All of us in trouble, right? So if you start doing lots and lots and lots of relief moves, so darned many.
Endless.
Right, that you're spending a large chunk of every day involved doing that, well, you're not going to be doing much of approaching who's important to you. That is, you're not going to do much in regards to your values, okay? So now we're introducing that and we're showing people that, but it's obvious. You don't have to belabor this at all. People just look at it. And this is the point where Phil and I'll call this pattern recognition.
Yeah.
One of the courses, by the way, you can click on the green button is this as pattern recognition, because what Phil is holding up is a pattern.
Is it?
It's a pattern. And so now people can see the pattern of their lives, which, by the way, is part of why it's interesting and they get curious about it, because now they're seeing the pattern of their lives. And you're not saying it's anything. It's just the pattern. You're not saying, positives about it, negatives about it, nothing. You're just matter of facting this all the way. And that's what you want to do in all of ACT, is that matter of fact, non-judgmental approach to looking at the human condition. So we're not, and so in the upper left, I'll do an example. Somebody says, oh, I have pain. What do you do for pain? I take heroin. Oh, isn't that interesting?
Put that in here.
And that's how you do it. You just write it down. It's just, okay, that's what you do.
Yep, right there.
Most of our society wants to put on the brakes right there and say, oh my God, you're
Whoa.
no,
Oh, we got to do something there?
Right. But from this point of view, it's like, oh, well, now that's noted. We have this process. You have pain, and in the upper left, you have heroin. Does it work? They go, oh, yeah, it works great. So there you go. No one, and is it something you did once, or are you doing it more than once? Oh, I do it about every day. Oh, so the pain goes away, and then it comes back, and then you use more heroin, right? So it looks like this. And Phil's going to show you. Oh, so it looks like that, and then it goes around and round and round, and so you've got the pain heroin circle going, zoom, 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 zoom. That's part of your life. The person goes, yeah,
Oh
That's-
yeah, that's me.
that's part of my life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I do.
And notice we haven't dissed on it. We've just, that's part of your life. Now, if you want, you can stop right there and tell them to stop.
Oh, really?
I have it on good authority that that will not work.
We're not going to say thank you very much for telling me to stop. Hadn't realized up till now.
Yeah. The just say no is not going to work, folks.
Nope.
And so you're not going to do that. I'm only kidding. It's tongue in cheek. You're not going to, we're just noting the process. That's all. Okay. You know, and then we can go, but over here on the right, you know, what do you do for who's important to you? The person might at that point say, you know what, I don't have so much time for that because I'm having to shop for heroin all the time. Oh, there you go. They notice the pattern recognition. Now they, oh. But
Uh-huh.
they're seeing it. You're not pointing it out. They're seeing it. You've just shown them how to make the pattern.
Yep.
And they can go home and repeat it themselves. As a matter of fact, people will ask, do you have a blank copy of that I could take home? Sure.
Right.
And if you want to Google it, there's a lot of them on the Google, but they might not have a printer or something. So, but at the same time, you say, you just get a piece of paper out on a whiteboard. Write it out.
Two cross lines, some little words. You're good to go.
They'll also say, can I take a picture of that? Anybody, maybe William or Jasmine or somebody, that people want to take a picture of it. It's their picture, so sure. And you can take a picture of it all you want, you know, and they do. They have many times. And so now you're into it. Now there's but it's got to have committed actions. Oh no, we've got committed actions. Oh no, Phil, where might we find committed actions? Used to leave them on the wall. Oh heck yeah, that's the way to run a classroom. And so
Definitely.
by the way, if you haven't guessed so far, committed actions are in the upper right. We just don't call them committed actions because that's really highfalutin.
Yeah. There's no need to fluff that up.
Yeah, that is fancy talk. You know, you talk to your wife, you're playing with your kids, you call up your mom, you know,
Doing stuff.
right? Yeah, committed action sounds hard, and the least, I mean, nobody likes hard. I don't care. I mean, we might like a little bit of hard, but we don't want a steady
Steady
diet.
guy to hard. No fun.
We just don't. And people don't like hard words, and they don't like, you know, hard subjects and all that. It's just, so we're that. So the committed actions are there. We already covered the diffusion and the values. And by the way, we got the nice big old notice right in the middle. And they can always just come back to notice. Now they may say, well, what do I do? So, do more noticing.
You're doing it right now.
Now here, we'll slow it down, folks. If you're simply noticing, you are accepting. To notice that I'm feeling fear or something is a big step in accepting that I'm feeling fear. And so that's where the present moment awareness is. It's in the notice. We just don't call it present moment awareness because Present moment awareness is not 3 words that you want to go bantering about in a lot of places.
Nope.
I mean, if you're on a mindfulness
Yeah,
retreat,
if you're in a meditation hall, okay, go ahead.
fine,
That's
uh, if you're hanging with your Buddhist friends, fine.
yep,
But like in a inner city classroom, not fine.
yep.
No, but
Not at
notice
all.
it works everywhere, and I've had it from prisons to boardrooms to
Oh,
Wall Street. Notice,
little kids, everybody can notice.
so, and so all of this built, and it took, what did it take me, Phil, about 5 years to finally get it processed. And
Yeah,
by the way, and we've done refinements like when I did this, and then Phil was doing it with me almost immediately. We probably still use values, and it
yeah,
just took us a while before we figured out, hey, that's clunky. That just keeps getting us hitched up. So let's not do that. Let's ixnay on the values talk. So we've literally dropped all the fancy language.
yep.
Don't use it. Why?
Mindfully, but I still cannot negotiate around the anxiety for certain things before I get to the point, get to the end of the diving board and can't make the jump.
Yes. So you've noticed that.
Yeah, that's some cool noticing.
Yeah. And that's all you do is notice. There's no, the answer something different will show up.
Yeah.
You keep on noticing, something different will show up. You'll see.
Yeah, it always does, Richard.
It always does. I mean, this is definitely I don't know. I forgot. I just blanked on what I was about to say, but you just keep noticing, and workable stuff shows up.
Workable.
That's
Right.
what
Yep.
workable stuff shows up. Now, why do I use that little bit, that phrase it that way? Because if I said something good's going to show up, that's a judgment. If I say something bad's going to show up, that's a judgment. But what we all want is workable stuff to show up.
Yep.
I don't care who you are. You want workable stuff to show up. And by saying workable, I mean, yeah, it's a judgment, but it's a judgment we can all live with. Where good and bad get you in the territories that, well, they're sticky. So that's how you're doing. And now you're doing the ACT process. You get good at showing people this diagram. Now, on the left, that thing on the left is a stuck loop. That's just showing somebody a stuck loop. And you get good at doing it. You're doing the ACT process. And if you're doing the ACT process, you're doing ACT.
Bingo.
Now, I fully will understand. You go someplace and they'll say, but you're not doing diffusion. Well, yeah, I am. No, you're not. Well, how do you know I'm not? Because you're not using the word diffusion. That's why.
Yeah.
You're not doing values. Yeah, I am. No, you're not. Why? Because you're not using the word values. People get really hung up on those words. I understand that. But I don't even have to know the word car to ride in one. You don't need that language to do the process. You really don't. And it's fun. And so that's how you do ACT with the ACT matrix. That's how you do it. It's what it was built for. Do that. Let's take it. William and Phil can talk to this a lot of classrooms, or I can talk to teams having the matrix. I mean, work teams, or no, in sports teams too.
Oh yeah.
Having the matrix up on a board in the room, whatever room it is, and they manage themselves using the matrix by adding another question. which is what's our shared purpose. So really everything else stays pretty much the same, except that you ask, what's our shared purpose? And in the upper right, it changes a bit just because now you're talking about behaviors that might work to achieve the shared purpose. There you go. So a football team, what do we want to do? Win. Well, what might help us get toward that shared purpose of winning? Maybe we'll practice. Ooh, what a concept. And of course, there's many, many, many other things that can go into that, but you get the
What
idea.
shall we practice? Oh, well, there's a good question, right?
Right. And but does any yucky stuff show up? Well, yeah.
Oh, man.
Lots of yucky stuff shows up. And you write that down, and well, do we do any avoidance stuff? Yeah, I avoid practice, and that kind of stuff. So now the whole team can look at it and see the picture of how the group is doing, or the classroom is doing. And so now you have a shared perspective taking, shared look. Way cool, folks, way cool if you can ever get a chance to show it to a classroom or a team of people and show them how they can put it up on a board.
Yep.
And really run their meetings using it, or at least refer back to it often.
Really pulls them together.
And by the way, it is now the command and control people don't particularly like it.
They don't like it at all.
No, they don't like it.
Oh.
We're just going to tell you, they don't like it.
Mhm.
But if you have the collaborative leaders, they love it.
They get this thing in a heartbeat.
And it takes you off the hook because now any team member can say, oh, wait a minute, or any class member, even a fourth grader, out in the room.
Oh, yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, wait a minute. I got something.
And you'll go, well, what is it? Well, is what we're doing right now working for the shared purpose?
Up
And
here.
everybody goes, oh.
Hmm.
And so now, not the teacher, but the kid out in the classroom just brought us back to process. Way cool.
Yeah.
And if you like that kind of thing, but if you like command and control, nope.
Don't do that. If you like collaboration, do this.
By its very nature, its philosophical nature, big act, as written by Steve Hayes and Kelly Wilson. Hey, today's Kelly Wilson's birthday, by the way.
Is it? Yeah,
Tip of the hat to Kelly.
yeah.
And Kirk Strassel. Don't know if it's his or. Anyway, those three writers, they wrote all of this up, and it's collaborative. Period. In the story, it is not a command and control way of doing things. So in that regard, Steve Hayes had one of the favorite ones I've heard on it. It's like we're all in the same rowboat pulling on different oars.
I like that one.
Right. And so even when you're doing this in therapy with somebody, it's very much you're trying to establish an equal level. You're not trying to be hierarchical. I'm the all-powerful, all-knowing therapist, Oz. No. I'm over here in the boat, and you're over there in the boat, and we're both trying to figure out the
Got our hands on the oars and try to figure this thing out.
Right. We're trying to get it to work, right? And so it's a collaborative model by its very nature, which, and Phil and I have done it long enough to know that somebody who's really, really, really into command and control will dismiss this in a heartbeat.
No, they won't come anywhere near it.
They spot it really quick. They spot the collaboration. Really
Yeah.
And they might even say, basically, they'll say, well, how can I use it for command and control?
Right.
And like, well, you can't.
Can't.
So then they don't want
That's not to. Let's put it that way.
it. because it's going to lead to collaboration. It just takes you right back to collaboration. So, well, if you got that going, that's cool. But that's how you do it. We just put it all in the diagram. If you want to learn more about it, well, visit more Crowdcast, do more. Click on the green button and buy some
Right.
CEUs. You can join. We have, if you need to be certified, some people need certification. You do not, any human can use the matrix.
Yeah, you don't need to be.
And I know because I made it and I gave it away. So that's not it. However, there are people that came to us and said, for my work environment, I need to be certified. Could you? So we'll do that. Now we do expect you to be pretty good at doing matrix, at showing people the matrix. But if you wanted to get certified, get a hold of us. No, I put it on the front page, didn't I, Phil?
Yeah, it's there.
It's there. So
Yep.
So if you click the green button, you'll see that.
It's all the information's there.
Yeah, all the other stuff. We do Crowdcasts at least once a week, if not 3 times a week. I've been in a training for another thing, so I'm only doing one
Yeah.
thing
Or
right now.
lately.
No, I've had a busy life lately,
Uh huh.
to say the least. I've always had me in my head monitoring William, I do that all the time. It is, of course, and this, let me talk about me, and Phil can too. It's as if you don't think about it consciously anymore. You've been around it for so many hundreds or thousands of hours that you're not doing, who's important to me and my yucky stuff and my that. You're not doing that anymore, but it's there. It's running in the background.
The process is running inside of me. That's the way that I like to think about it.
And it's a bit calmer, and how shall I put it? Interesting and sometimes workable stuff shows up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
That's a nice way to put it. You discover things. And you don't have to go looking for them. You just discover them. They're there.
No, you get more patient about.
Yeah, letting things come to you.
They come to you. Stuff shows up.
Yeah.
And this stuff shows up. It's really, and we've had this discussion with lots of people. By now, there are tens of thousands of people like us who do this a lot. And it's just that thing. But at a moment's notice, I might, every once in a while, the only caveat to that is I'll say, if I get a little agitated and feel lost or, just whatever.
Yeah.
I will think to myself, oh yeah, who's important to you?
Yeah, I'll imagine that matrix. Right.
Right. And once I answer that question, who's important to me, everything levels out.
And centers me. It centers.
Right. Centers you right out. You don't have to do the yucky stuff in the other.
No. Because that all comes along for the ride because it's a process.
Now, I'm not saying that when you're beginning, you don't need to do that.
No, that's the practice.
That's
like JoJo practice.
Right.
Many, many, many times over time as you practice and use it, it'll show up.
But the way you reorient is who's important, which is values or whatever, however you want to say it, that works. So we invite you to do it, but that's how you do ACT, and it's all in there. And if you have any questions, watch umpteen Crowdcasts, webinars, stuff done over the years as we go.
YouTube videos, same thing over there.
We go into the philosophies and all of this, but it's built in there. It's all in there. The hitch up is the words, the values, the diffusion, the committed action, present moment awareness. They're not in there.
Yeah.
Not there. Oh, sure. Great. So, so if you can live with that language not being in there, You can do ACT real easy. And it's really better if you don't make it hard.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, you really
You're
you
gonna
need.
get yourself all bound up by making it hard.
It doesn't need to be hard. It
No.
really doesn't. We oftentimes think, and I know I had that impression. I'm not saying I was any different. That this all this stuff of human life is hard, and you'll think life is hard, life is hard, life is
Oh,
hard.
you can say it.
You know, and people will say it, and I guess it is, but the process of finding what works to heaven is not hard.
No.
It's, now, it's hard if you try and force it. That's when it gets hard. And that's it. So somebody had mentioned, being on a diving board, standing there, and we go, "Oh, cool, noticing."
Yeah.
And the reason is we're just letting it float. We're accepting it. We're just letting it float, just letting it be there, and, not looking for,
Just as it is.
not trying to force a solution.
Right.
We are certainly going to notice solutions show up,
Yeah.
and try them, because this is all about behavior. But you learn to stop trying to force them, because it just doesn't work as well. So that's how you do it. It's really quite simple. It's very elegant, and I had no idea it was going to be this elegant when I started.
Mm.
I was just trying to diagram the process of ACT. That was it. I mean, literally, folks, read in back of one of Steve Hayes' books, the outcome of ACT is a process. Great. What's the process? That wasn't clearly articulated. So I did. I articulated the process. That's all.
Right there.
Right. And so, now, we forgot, Phil. If you want to do values work and say the word values, go right ahead.
Oh yeah.
If you want to do diffusion work and you say the word diffusion,
Have at it.
have at it. Have a blast. If you want to do present moment awareness,
Yeah.
then fine, do it. It's not that you can't do that stuff. We would never say that. No, people do that, and it's okay. But for our purposes, I mean, I was working with substance abuse veterans in the end, substance abuse veterans with PTSD, let's put it all. And the values and the diffusion.
Yeah.
That-
And I was working with kids with severe issues in schools and privately, and there was no way they were going to sit for any of that stuff. They were just not able to do it.
They check out on you.
Yeah.
You lose I call it, in the entertainment, you lose your audience.
Yeah. They would smell the command and control, and they'd be out of there.
They're just, if they can't physically, or at least they feel
Yeah,
it,
they would check out mentally, or just
they check out mentally.
head down. I'm not doing this. No way.
And you want people curious and engaged, literally to lean in. And so to get that, we dropped all the cumbersome language.
Yep.
Maybe you're the kind who just can't drop the cumbersome language. Okay. It's okay. It's not a problem. We're very accepting of all this stuff. We really are. And so now if you get certified, we will be sticklers about how you present the matrix.
Yeah.
Well,
That's where we have some.
and we would fuss if you were using that language.
Right.
I'll be the first to admit we would fuss about that, because that's not really the flow that we're looking for. We're looking for a nice, gentle flow to bring people into the experience. Gently bring people into the experience in a lighthearted way that is extraordinary. What I used to call it, it's brutal.
It's benevolently brutal.
Benevolently brutal. Because in the end, life is brutal. And when you look at it, it's brutal. The stark reality of looking at that diagram goes from, oh, wow, isn't that interesting, to, oh, wow, that's my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yikes.
Well, there it is. Ooh. Yeah. That was a confrontation with yourself.
I'm not used to looking at and,
There's a
and
lot there.
and then the brutality takes over, but it doesn't last.
Okay. Yeah.
It's okay. It backs back off and you're okay. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's fun. It's a fun thing to get into people. I can I am truly humbled and astounded by how many people use it and really get a lot out of it.
Yeah.
You know?
No, it's really a gift to give to people, the way that I look at it at this point.
That's what we do. We give it. Now, if people can buy courses from us, great. If
Yeah.
you can buy certification from us, not buy it, but purchase
It
the
helps
certificate.
us out, moves the matrix along.
It helps us keep doing this stuff, right? And giving it away. But it's free. There's no doubt about it. It's free. We fully know that.
Out
And
there, anybody can take it, use it.
it has to be free. I've never come off of that, and I still am very much. It can't be, Wall Street. It can't.
No.
It's free. Period. Now, if you go present to Wall Street, charge them
Oh,
crazy.
a lot of money. Charge them a lot of money.
Lot of
They have
money.
it. They have it.
Right, for the presentation. That's not a totally. So we're not talking that. We are Phil and I. Yes, we have to pay bills and stuff. We live in a capitalistic
Yeah,
society. We haven't decided to throw everything away and go to the barter system with folks.
No, that's not going to work.
That's not for our purposes. And so anyway, so we understand that, but as far as just show it to people, say, hey, I got something I'd like to show you.
Yeah.
Would you like to see it? Well, sure, I'd like to see it.
It's a great intro.
And would you like, if you're in therapy, then would you like to work with me?
Yeah. Would you like to work with me from this point of view? Is it okay?
And
Yeah, sure.
people go, yeah,
Yeah.
it looks interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll often say that. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they'll say that. They'll say, wow, this is going to be useful. One
Oh, I've heard that too.
tell me years ago, hey, wow, this is really going to be useful.
I've had people. As a matter of fact, it was recently. It's probably where that humbly thing. Somebody came up to me and said, that diagram of yours? Yeah. I don't know, not mine, but that's how they said it. They said, it's really useful.
Oh, really?
Well, I'm glad you find it useful.
Yeah, really?
Really. I mean, I really.
Great.
It's so. And it turns out it is. It's a bit of a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah.
You definitely want to take it along on your camping trail.
And it's very portable.
very, very portable. Yeah. All you need is a little bit of charcoal and a flat rock, and you can draw it out,
Oh man, you just stick on the ground.
or a stick in the sand. That's
Right.
right. Why not go for it? Have fun. So you'll all have fun. This is Friday, so have a great weekend.
Yeah, please.
And if you're listening on a recording 10 years from now, well, I don't know what day it is, but have a great day anyway.
Whatever you end up doing.
Have fun. And we'll be back next Friday.
Friday.
Yeah, it'll be next Friday when we're back.
Signed up, you're going to get an email for the next one.
Yeah, you'll get an email. Bye-bye now.
All right, good to see y'all. Take care.
See ya, yeah.